Hello, tubers. How are you doing today? Well, I hope you're doing well, praying the rosary, getting closer to God, following His ways, because Yahweh is the best way. Today, I wanted to talk about, I wanted to put the past and bring it forward to the present so that we understand where we're at. Because a lot of times, it's good to know where we are compared to the past. Hopefully, we can learn from the past. So I wanted to talk about or read an excerpt in the Bible. It's in Samuel, in the Old Testament, chapter 17. And it's regarding David and Goliath. So here it's at verse 40 through about 45 or so. Then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of the shepherd's bag, and with a sling in his hand approached the Philistine. The Philistine is Goliath. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome, and he despised him. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." So this is where we're at, people. This is where we're at. And what I mean by that is this. We have two sides. We have the Goliath side, and we have the David side. The side of Israel versus the Philistines. And what I'm talking about, what I'm referring to is a situation with mandates and basically governments forcing people to do one thing and people kind of rebelling against that particular mandates. And we have words flying back and forth, just like David and Goliath. They went back and forth with verbiage. But my question is this: how far did it get David by arguing with Goliath? Did Goliath back down? Did he say, "Oh, David, you are right. I shouldn't be mocking you. I'm very sorry. Let's be friends"? That didn't happen, did it? And David was not going to accept Goliath by defying his God, our God. He wasn't going to back down off of that. And this is where we're at, people. This is where we're at. So when I see women standing behind a podium and complaining, arguing, trying to persuade uh, school board members, congressmen, or even men, even doctors complaining that this drug is not good, the shot is not good, for whatever the case may be. They're really arguing with the wrong people, because those people sitting behind those boards or those tables that they're arguing to are not calling the shots. They're just employees. They're just doing what they have to do to keep that job, and they're they're not the puppet masters. They are puppets. So these people are arguing with other people who are just being, manipulated, you know. And until we kind of come to grips with this, what I'm mentioning, uh, we're just spitting in the wind, really. Not that I don't appreciate them by doing what they're doing and standing behind their beliefs. It's great. But if you want to be effective, that strategy is not going to be effective because really you're arguing with the wrong person. These are just figureheads in a position. And yeah, maybe you can get rid of those figureheads. Maybe you'll go against a judge and you get rid of the judge. But the next judge that sits, in that chair is going to be the same puppet because they're going to be hired from the puppet masters and being controlled. So it, it's just a waste of time. Now you may win some battles. You might take some people to court and you may win. Great. But at the end of the day, you really haven't moved the needle much because they'll just put another person in that spot, you know. So, like I said, until we really understand what has to be done, we're just spinning in the wind. Satan is a strong adversary. He took 1/3 of the angels and made them demons. Took 1/3 of the angels that God created and brought them down to hell with him. He's strong, very strong. We haven't come close to even doing anything against Satan. Satan is laughing. He's laughing. He likes it when we get skirmishy and start arguing. It makes him happy. It makes him happy. He sees that people are suffering, that they're getting all hot and heavy, and they're reaching the point, right? The boiling point. He enjoys that. I mean, don't you think he likes the screaming and the yelling and gnashing of teeth in hell? Don't you think he likes that? To him, that's like a song. That's birds chirping, the yelling and screaming. He enjoys that. You have to understand your adversary. If you don't understand your adversary, you're never going to do anything. And, I said to myself just now, I said, when was the last time that the United States had any foreign adversary land on this property, on the United States? 80 years ago, on the attack of Pearl Harbor, back in 1941, December 7th, 1941, almost 80 years ago, we had people on our land, not even on the continental USA, it was on Hawaii. That was the last time this country has been attacked. 80 years ago, so nobody in the country knows any of that type of situation. My father, who was Spanish, when he was very young, he was just a kid, he'd have to jump into a bunker when a siren would sound. Because when the siren sounded, that means that the airplanes were coming and they were going to start bombing. So him as a boy had to jump into a bunker to save himself. When was the last time you did that? When was the last time you jumped into a bunker and had to hear bombs go off? Don't you think that could maybe happen again? Happened already. So, how far are you going to go? How far are you going to go? It's great. Stand in front of a school board, or you could complain, you could sue somebody. But that's just a little stirring a drink. That's not Not doing much. Are you willing to give up your life? That's where we're at. And I also say that this is actually good. What's going on is very good. And I say that sincerely. I do. You may say, Rich, you're crazy. What's wrong with you? You're nuts. I said, no, I'm not nuts. I'm not nuts. I'm looking I'm looking at the forest from the trees. Or I'm not looking at the forest from the trees. I'm standing back further. And I did a video a few months ago saying that God spanks his children. And he doesn't do it because he wants to. God doesn't wake up one day and say, hey, I want to spank my children. Just like any parent. No parent, no reasonable parent's going to say, I want to spank my child today. But they do it because they love them. And they don't want anything bad happening to their children, so they spank them to teach them so they can learn. Because apparently they didn't learn the easy way. So I had to go to plan B and I had to learn the hard way. And that's where we're at now. We have to learn the hard way. God tried the easy way. He tried and tried and tried. And look what's going on. Less and less people going to church. Took prayers out of school over 60 years ago. Abortion. All the children that are being born out of wedlock. And it's acceptable. The gay communities. And on and on and on. So, be thankful we have a God that's willing to spank us. Because hopefully some of us are going to learn and fall into line and follow God's ways before it's too late. This life is just a pit stop. The next one is the real one. The next one is the permanent one. So be thankful. Be thankful that we're going through this. You don't want to end up in hell. So, yeah, we're going to have to go through quite a bit of pain. But if you die and you go to hell, that's going to be pain. I mean, I can't even imagine it. Just the smell. Just the smell. You don't want to think about it. So, this is just a means to an end at this point. A means to an end for it. What's the end? The end is for us to go to heaven. So, this is actually what they call growing pains. And hopefully we'll go through enough pain so that we can grow and learn and appreciate what this life is really about. Jesus didn't come here to make miracles, perform miracles. That wasn't his mission. His mission was to be the conduit for us to go from heaven, from earth to heaven. That was his mission, and he completed it. He also said, the path to the light is narrow, and the path to the darkness is wide. So he knew well ahead of time that his sacrifice of dying on the cross, getting beaten, spat upon, the crown of thorns, the beating he took, it was not going to be for everybody because not everybody was going to grab that chance. He said it. He said the path to the light is narrow. But he did it anyway. He did it anyway because he wanted to give his children, us, a chance to make it to heaven. He did it. He did it willingly. That's the love he has for us. And he'd probably do it again. So, unfortunately, this is necessary. This is our last chance, people. If we're not going to wake up now, we're never going to wake up. Man, if you don't wake up after getting beaten up, then, you're going to have to pay the ultimate price. Your soul's going to have to pay the ultimate price for eternity. And that's the last thing that God wants for you. That's the last thing that Jesus wants for you. Our Holy Mother, the Holy Spirit, the saints that are in heaven. That's the last thing that they want, is to lose your soul for eternity. So they're willing to have you go through pain now, even though they don't like it. They despise it. They did everything they could. How many times did Our Lady come to this world warning us to pray the rosary? And we still don't do it. So this is our last chance. This is it. So that's the message today. Now, we could talk so much. You can't argue with a crazy person. It's senseless. But at the same time, hopefully this will wake up people so they'll see that there's another dimension to this life. That there is a spiritual world. That there's more to life after death. It's not you die and that's it. I mean, Jesus already proved it. He was resurrected after 3 days, and then he ascended to heaven after 40 days. But so many of us don't, just think it's like a fairy tale. And you can't believe it. Well, hopefully when this starts coming down, the Jews, they couldn't believe they were going to, do you think they thought they were going to be gassed to death and starved to death and shot and everything else? Do you think they actually anticipated that? These are smart people. These were smart people. And it happened 80 years ago. You don't think it can happen again? Do you think humanity's gotten better, more kinder since the late 30s and early 40s? Come on now. So, well, that's the video today. Hope you appreciate it. Go read the verses, or in Samuel, verse chapter 17, verses, was it 40 to 45, somewhere around there. Read the whole chapter 17, regarding Samuel. Samuel was the king of Israel, and David was his successor. God gave him grace. It's a great story. I love David. I love David. I really love David. Anyway, hope you liked the video. If you did like it, give it a like. And as always, God bless.